Dragon Ball Super episode 66 is now officially in the history books, and today, guys, we're going to be sharing our overall thoughts and opinions and speculating as to what may or may not happen in Dragon Ball Super episode 67. Now, keep in mind, guys, this video will contain massive amounts of spoilers, so in case you guys have not watched the episode, don't watch this video. But with that being said, I know a lot of you guys, a large chunk of you guys are very, very excited about what's to come. And of course, with Dragon Ball Super episode 66 now over and done with, we saw the events that have occurred with Vegito and Zamasu, and that was one of the most glorious things I've seen in Dragon Ball Super so far, minus the fact, of course, that Vegito's fusion ran out so fast, and you guys get to hear my disappointment in my breakdown review. If you guys haven't checked that out, go do so. So let's talk about next week. So the Omni King is here, but what is the Omni King doing here? We don't really know. We know that based on Herms' translation for episode 67, that Zamasu doesn't seem to be gone. More or less, he's still here, but the fact that the remnants of him is going to be spread out throughout the sky and stuff, what does that really mean? I mean, is his spirit still alive? Given the fact that he's immortal, maybe bits and pieces of him are still there. So I think that with the Omni King being there, and again, I do think that next week, episode 67, and of course episode 68, is going to be the farewell of this arc. And let me tell you guys something. I mean, I'm a little upset on the fact that it's done already, because it just feels like yesterday that we were all asking ourselves, like, who is Goku Black? What's going on with Zamasu? And now it's finally over, guys. I feel as if the ending per se is a little too cliche, having, you know, Trunks gather up all the energy into like this spirit sword, you know, gathering up all the energy from the humans, and Goku and Vegeta, you know, like just getting swallowed up by the Genki Dama in the sky, and then putting all that energy into the sword and slicing him in half. It was a glorious moment, but I think that next week we're going to be saying goodbye to Trunks, guys. This is going to be the be-all end-all of future Trunks. I don't think that we're ever going to see him ever again. If anything, we might get like a few like contacts from him, like how he's doing and stuff, but I really doubt that he's ever going to use the time machine to travel in the past ever again. Why? Because I think that the gods are definitely going to put a label on it, and they're going to say no more time traveling, no more messing up the flow of time, no more asking for help. Like, this is it, you've got your help. And that's going to be like the final act of that. So in case anyone out there is wondering if Trunks is ever going to show up, I really doubt that. And I'm really curious to see what the Omni King is going to do about this, because the Omni King, I mean, we saw a little snippet of him, although it wasn't for a long time. He was still there, and when he showed up, like, if you look at the sky behind him, it's like a greenish, you know, blackish sky in the background. So the only place where we know that that kind of background exists is the future timeline. So what I'm thinking here is, I think that the Omni King is going to be the one to permanently put the rest of Zamasu away, because I really doubt that he's permanently damaged, or at least dead at this point, because he is immortal, or at least part of him is immortal. And we saw how everyone else in this episode, including Vegito, even pointed out the fact that part of Zamasu is still immortal, but the other part is not gone. So perhaps maybe the Goku Black side of things is gone, but the Zamasu portion of his existence is still alive. So I think that with the Omni King being there, he's gonna, you know, permanently put an end and erase Zamasu. But then again, Goku also congratulates Trunks on erasing Zamasu with that sword. But again, I think that next week is going to glorify Trunks and the fact that he was able to finally put an end to the monster that came into his world and terrorized his people and destroyed his people, killed his mom, you know, nearly killed him a couple of times. So I think that the basis of next week's episode, also with Beerus and Whis, are going to be the fact that they know now that something has changed in the future. So maybe they know that Zamasu is now gone, and we're going to be prepping and moving on forward into bigger and better things later on. Now, some people are excited, some people are ultimately a little disappointed, but I think that the only disappointment factor was the fact that we only saw fusion for an X amount of time. We didn't get to see it for a very long time, for the purposes of, you know, building up more story per se for someone like Trunks and other characters as well. But I don't think that this is going to be like the be-all end-all of Goku and Vegeta working together, because we saw in the episode how they were pretty much like opposed on the idea of working together, but now we understand that Trunks erases him. So next week, I'm predicting that the Omni King is going to show up, and he's going to permanently put an end to whatever is left of the remnants of Zamasu. Then I think that we're going to see Gowasu, I think that we're going to see the Supreme Kai alongside everyone else bid goodbye and farewell to Trunks. As you already know, the episode is titled Fill Your Heart with Hope, Farewell Trunks. So this is it, guys. In terms of Beerus and Whis, I'm pretty sure they're going to ask Goku and Vegeta what happened. And I'm pretty sure Goku's gonna open up his mouth and say, yeah, well, we fused, you know, isn't that cool? And Beerus is gonna be like, really? So the Saiyans actually work together for once, huh? But if you guys are hoping for any action, if you guys are hoping that Beerus is gonna welcome the idea of them fusing in front of him and stuff, it's not gonna happen. I'm pretty sure Beerus is gonna be a little curious on the idea of what happened, and Goku's gonna be the first one to probably open up his mouth and say, well, you know, we fused, but the idea of Beerus meeting Vegito, it's not gonna happen, especially after looking at what happened in episode 66 when they defused so quickly. But I think more or less next week is gonna be a very settling episode, because now we see that everything's over. We saw Goku, Vegeta, we saw everyone else smiling at the end of the preview, so that just tells me that everything that happened so far was meant to happen for a reason, and that ultimately enough, the events that have transpired in the future are now over due to the fact that Trunks was the one to use the sword to put them away. So I want to know your thoughts down below, guys. I want to know your thoughts on the way this was handled, and I want to know your thoughts on the Omni King, because I do think that the Omni King is going to show up, because I don't think that he's bound by any sort of like barrier or time limit per se. I think that the Omni King exists, you know, outside of that, so he can do whatever he wants. But I also think that going into the conclusion of this, the Omni King is either going to A, clean up the mess, or B, possibly congratulate everyone and even tell Trunks, like, you can't use the time traveling machine anymore because of what you did before. This is the end result. So I also think that, you know, looking at the entire spectrum of everything that happened so far, I don't think we're going to see Vegito appear in the Omni tournament either. I think that this was definitely fan service for all of us out there that have wanted to see fusion, and I think that they listened to us. They finally listened to us, and we saw Kaioken, right? We saw Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, so even though it was momentarily shown, it was still something to where the fans were like, holy shit, like that was awesome. So I think that leading up to the conclusion of this, we're going to see everyone get together, have some food, relax a little bit. Trunks is going to stay in his time and help his people, help Yajirobe, help Mai, and possibly even start a family with Mai. So that's my prediction on what's going to happen. I don't think that we're going to see Super Saiyan Blue Trunks or Super Saiyan 3 Trunks or Trunks fighting in the Omni tournament or Trunks fused with his father. I think that everything so far that happened with Trunks has come for full circle, and I think that everything was meant to be the way it was, with Trunks being the one to cut him in half to pretty much dispose of this evil that was dwelling within his time, that was dwelling upon his head, you know, always having to think about Goku Black, always having to think about Zamasu, always having to think about his mom and everyone else dying. So this was the be-all end-all, guys. Again, episodes 68 and 69 have not been detailed, although the leaks will be dropping this month and stuff. I want to know your thoughts, and I think in a way, this is Toei's way of saying, you know, happy Thanksgiving to all the fans by giving us Vegito. Even though it was for 10 minutes, we've also gotten Kaioken a part of that as well. So I just felt as if the episode was a little rushed, but I also felt like the episode was definitely worth it, because at the end of the day, we see how everyone began to grow. We saw how, you know, the conclusion of everything happened to be the way it was. But I want to know your thoughts on Vegito. I want to know your thoughts on like the time limit per se, because the Supreme Kai did say, oh wow, like it hasn't even been an hour yet, and I was just like, wait a minute, this isn't the Metamories fusion, this is the Potara fusion. But I know some of you guys out there might say that the Omni King is going to take full responsibility and just destroy Zamasu's like permanent immortality and stuff. I don't know if that's the case, but it is possible, because if he's still left out there and if he's still going to be growing in the sky according to the translations, then his existence is still out there and he's still very, very much well alive. So I think that if anyone is suitable of permanently destroying him, even though his physical body is no longer there, then I think the Omni King is the one for the job. But I want to know your thoughts down below, guys. What are your overall thoughts on this episode? Again, this was one of my favorite episodes, just to see how amazing Vegito looked, because although it was for a very short time, he whooped Zamasu's ass so bad. Like, he was just throwing shots and shots and shots, like he was just going in there. He was digging at Zamasu. He wanted to kill him off, but even Vegito had his limits. So I want to know your thoughts as to what's going to happen with the Omni King, as to what Beerus and Whis are probably thinking about, as to what's going to happen with Trunks, what's going to happen with Goku and Vegeta when they go back into the past, and I want to know your thoughts on the upcoming arc as to what you guys believe it's going to be. Let me know down below, guys. Once again, thank you all for watching. If you guys have not done so already, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more awesome Dragon Ball information and news, of course. That way you guys are always in the Dragon Ball loop. If you guys cannot wait for next week's episode, if you guys love Dragon Ball, slap a like on this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. Tune in for the next video, the live stream, of course, later on tonight, and I'll be seeing you all later. Take it easy, guys. Peace.